we take it to the camp and we say, what do you guys think? Is this going to work? And what doesn't work? What should we cross out? What, it's been through quite a few iterations. We've had a few different rules that we found that just don't apply anymore, and then some that we wanted to put in there. People will come back and say, well, it doesn't say this anywhere. And we're like, you're right. Let's see if we should put this down somewhere. We don't want to just be giving arbitrary rules. We want people to understand. We don't want to set people up to fail. We want to make sure they understand what the consequences will be. Some of our templates here on the left, that's the real quick registration form. So we would cut that paper in half, so that's how quick and easy just that initial registration is. It asks for their name, date of birth, and age, and of course their nickname, because a lot of people on the streets have a street name. Race, language, gender, health concerns, do they have a vehicle, are they a veteran, do they have pets, what's the date of intake, entry, and then the date they vacated. Resident read the rules, and then staff signature. So, and also an emergency contact. And some of that is to help us, if we know if it's a veteran coming in, then I know which of my staff is funded by the VA or by state grant to help veterans. So that really helps us to streamline that process of getting somebody into housing. And then on the right is what's on the back side of that registration form. And so this is, again, that really basic data. This is really all we're working with. Do you have employment? What does that look like? Do you have income? Do you have other basic needs, an ID, birth cert, social security? Are you seeking housing? Did you get housing? Education? So those are that's it to get into the camp.
It's about the zoning. I was curious about the fence. Was there a lot of conversation about the fence, about not having a fence?
Yes, there was a lot of conversation. So we had several years without a fence, and the question was, when are we getting the fence? We had, those green poles that you hammer into the ground, and then just plastic fencing around, and people would just hop over and come in, and that was really uncomfortable to the camp residents, and so they were always asking, when are we going to get the fence? Because they knew that we were getting legislative funding, and part of the requirement, one of the conditions is that we would have opaque fencing. City planners were like, we don't want anyone to see that we have a camp, a tent city. You put a fence around that nobody can see in there. Fine, we want it anyway, right? It's a wind block, and yeah, they feel like they have privacy and security, but that's not where they were coming from.
We don't want to see you.
So we were really excited, but getting legislative money takes a long time. But so for us, everybody was really excited to finally get that fence. They love having the fence, the entrance. It's on a rolly thing, and I'm usually the one opening it, come on. They're like, no. So they really appreciated having the fence.
How high is it? 6 feet?
Yeah, 6 feet.
Chain link?
It's chain link with brown slats in it. Tiny bit of notoriety there. So, so that just says in Tent City of Glimmer of Hope. So yeah, we did have the Times come out. We've also been in Reuters and the Atlantic,
And that's
just
before the structures. That was
Yes.
when everybody's just.
yeah, this was pretty new. So we're like, oh, already. But yeah, that's Richie. I haven't seen him in a long time because he's been housed. I think it's just so many camps just get moved, get raised, and this was really an example of what can we do in our own backyard. Yeah, it's really challenging, but really worth it. And so I think that was something that they got from that.
Do you attract people who are experiencing homelessness because you have your camp?
If you build it, will they come?
Never heard that.
I heard that a lot. You're going to make this so comfortable for people experiencing homelessness. They're all going to come here. They're never going to leave. I got 40 spots. So if there's not a spot for you, you have to move on. We always have had people that come through that are transient. There will be people experiencing homelessness for a long time. We have a lot of people in our community experiencing homelessness for the first time that are coming in through our doors. And so we did not have a huge influx of people coming. We're capped, so it's not endless, The first few years, we had about 190, I think we had 194, we had 197 the next year. This last year was the first year we had 174. So the numbers have gone down. We served more people than we had ever served, by a lot. So we've got some other things happening. I think that's, our day labor program has brought a lot more people in that weren't asking for help before, that now trust the community of hope. But in terms of people staying at the camp, the numbers went way down. And again, part of that is also because we're housing so many people. So there was not any evidence up until this year. So again, since 2011, we've been operating the camp. This last fiscal year was the first year I saw a huge rise in people that we were actually serving at Community of Hope, but not at the camp. So people were not flocking to Las Cruces. It's part of what brings me here again tonight. So if I can help communities do this in their own community, take care of their own, then that's less people that we have coming to all these different areas. Yeah.
Much nicer people.
What is the policy for Las Cruces for anyone begging on the street corner? Is that allowed, and is that taken into consideration for people in your camp? Because you ask about income.
Sure. From what I hear, you guys have had a similar situation. So we had an ordinance against panhandling. The ACLU said, oh, no you don't, First Amendment rights, people can fly a sign, you better let them fly a sign. And so people started to do that, and this happened in the last year. And so all of a sudden, we started to see a lot of people out there, and people were calling me like, all the time, oh, what's going on? We have so many homeless people in our community. I was like, I know every single one of them. They're just now finally allowed to fly a sign. So I can point them out, and a lot of them are actually housed. This is just how they're trying to get income. That said, now after however many months we've been doing it, I don't know a lot of the faces. So it'll be interesting to see the consequences of that, and if it is bringing people because now they're allowed to fly signs, are they just passing through, are they going to stay? They see that they can actually make money in Las Cruces in that way. So again, this time there's a big push, please just come do the day labor program with us. City's considering putting up signs, donate to a charity, instead of giving directly to encourage, give to a charity to discourage giving directly to people, which can be unsafe. But again, we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. If it does end up bringing more people, it's kind of hard to quantify. And a lot of them don't necessarily want to admit that they're out flying a sign, at least right now because it's so new, but maybe they will start to do that. We'd like to create other opportunities for that.
What's the population of Las Cruces?
We have 100,000 people in Las Cruces, and last year we served 2,971 people experiencing homelessness. That's people that have signed in. So I'm sure much higher than that.
Do you have, what's the approximate percentage of people that are single in your campsites as opposed to like couples?
I am going to guess 10 to 15% are couples at the camp. One of the things that, another unintended consequence I didn't put on there is, before we started the camp, I had a lot of incidents of sexual assaults on women. And so a lot of times in response to that, women will get with a male partner or with a partner just to make sure that they have some sort of protection. When we started the camp, we saw so many single females coming in. Finally, they felt independent. They felt protected in the camp. People were watching out for them. And we have rules around relationships at the camp, so that's something that you have to consider. But one thing we feel like is the accounts of sexual assault, went down to almost nothing. That was huge for us to know that we were making that kind of an impact and making women feel empowered and making them feel more safe and independent. So that was really important to us. So we see less couples coming in.
As a follow-up to that, if I can, real quick, so when we met back in April of 17, I guess, you reported to me as law enforcement that we've never had a serious assault within the camp, any kind of physical assault. Is that still the case? Or?
Again, no. happen in the camp. So
We've had some and they're very highly publicized, of course.
Sure, I mean, it's one of those things that then sticks with you if that does happen, and we realize that's again, one of those things that we keep holding our breath, and it very well may happen. It also might happen if I go to Walmart in El Paso, which is 40 miles away. So we know that, things do happen, anywhere, and yeah, we try to prepare for that in the camp, and realize that that could be a consequence of having, 45 people who are experiencing crisis all together. It could happen. It could also, that happen somewhere else. So, for us, having had it not happen, we feel like that's been very positive, and we hope that it continues that way.
Do you have an alternate location in Las Cruces for families?
Yes, the mission across the street.
Okay.
So typically families will go to the Gospel Rescue Mission, and then we'll work with them on housing. So we don't have kids at the camp, but we will try to get them directly into their own unit. Or we will tell the parents, if you have family, if they can stay with grandma, your parents are allowed to stay, if that ends up being a situation that works for them, and we've had those kinds of situations. But most of the time they'll go across the street. They don't have any other resource.
I'm curious how you were able to integrate the county and the city. I'm assuming you're in the city limits. I'm curious what came first, the county? What was your biggest barrier? Was it the county or the city? And within that, which one of those was more instrumental in the camp being able to happen?
Sure. I think our setup is different than it might be here. So if you're in the city limits, then it's a city issue, black and white. So this is all happening within the city. We're all on city property. So really the city was the deciding factor, really the only factor. The only way that the county played into any of this discussion is that we have a planning and zoning commission that I had to go before. And the planning and zoning commission is for the entire county. So in that particular setting, they got to have a say in the camp, and we had been operating for I think something like 11 months, and most of the response that I got was, "Do you have a tent city?" So, but fortunately they passed it, and so then from there, if they give the recommendation to approve that zoning designation as a planned unit development, then it went to the city of Las Cruces, who had the final say, and said, great, pass planning and zoning, and we believe in this as well, so we're all gonna pass it, so.
What technically is a planned unit development?
It means it's a negotiating tool. It means you can do something special that's not normally allowed in that zone.
Like normally it's like an R1 or an R, like industrial, or this is residential or zoned this way, but planned unit development, you can do something a little outside the box with that. So they don't just hand them
It doesn't
out.
have that right now as a current zoning designation, so it would not be reinventing the wheel to use that.
Is the day labor program mandatory, or is it just volunteer by the
The
residents?
day labor is just
Day
volunteer. City of Las Cruces really wanted to offer a way for people to work and have income, and they had money to give toward this program. So we get to take up to 20 people out experiencing homelessness, and they're not all from the camp, it's just anyone in the community that might be experiencing
How much do they
homelessness.
get paid?
$11 an hour, so they get $55 at the end of the day. And we do an informal survey of what they're spending the money on, just to have an idea of it. And in the beginning, we're counting how many people come, show up, and then, we do a lottery to see who gets to go. And we finally, found out that we were gonna have to start cutting back. We had a lot of people, this was our first tax time. We had a lot of people that really did pretty well. They were pretty lucky, got to go out quite a few times, but so we've had to limit that, just in terms of taxes and things like that. But we also find that, what they're mainly spending the money on is going to motel room, keeping their phone on, and then trying to get into an apartment, security deposit, or utility bill. And a lot of times that's what they'll bring. to
You
show us.
you withhold all the taxes and everything, just like a regular job?
No, so what we're trying to do now is make sure that the IRS cut off at 600, so making sure that people are going out 10 times, so they can make 550.
Okay.
But we found that we were turning away 40 people a day, which also then spoke to us, oh, what's that stigma about homeless people, they don't wanna work, they don't wanna do anything, we were turning away so many people. We had designed the plan, taking 10 people out per day, and immediately went back to the city council, we said, it's not enough. Look at the numbers, look how many people we're turning away, come over to this campus in the morning, it's not how many people wanna go out and want to work.
I've got two questions. Are you on a ground lease there, or is that private?
Yes, so we have a lease with the city of Las Cruces. So the Community of Hope proper, building where I am, holds the lease agreement, and we sublet to the other agencies.
And can you talk about your insurance liability policy, how does that run?
Yes, when we added the camp, I think now it's somewhere like around an additional $3,100, I wanna say, per year to have the camp added to our insurance. I don't know necessarily what that might look like. So we have, liability, we have commercial, we have D&O, we're very insured up. But adding the camp to me was not a big deal. And again, having that fundraiser is no problem. Yes.
Here in our community, there's kind of some polls in terms of people that are for or against, homelessness. And I'm wondering, and I saw in your unintended consequences that, the community was more educated about the issue of homelessness. Did you notice any shifts in terms of sort of acceptance of the homeless, as part of the community? And if so, do you have any suggestions or best practices to share in that regard?
I think what people really started to see was that the Community of Hope was making a difference in terms of homelessness by having the camp, by bringing people in. And we were able to say, for every homeless person that you might see downtown, what you're not seeing is 300 other people that we are housing, that we're making an impact in their lives. And so I think that really started to help people. Okay, I had some people that said that they were really afraid of homeless people. I didn't want to come down to the Community of Hope, but either through going out, my being on tour, making sure I'm doing outreach, that I'm talking to people about, working with people who are experiencing homelessness. Then they'll come out and they'll be like, I never thought it was like this. And I'll have people that'll tell me, I went to your guys' place when you were closed, it was on a weekend, I had a bunch of stuff to give, and I was really nervous about